Listmonk, free and open source mailing list manager. In this video, we'll learn how to use it. But before we get started, let's check out how it looks and works. To check it out, we can click Live Demo and hit Login button. There, we have an admin dashboard. In this page, we can see multiple things related to our usage metrics. These can be things like how many subscribers we got, how many messages have been sent, our timely views, link clicks, and so on, which is pretty nice. Then we have the lists menu. There, we can see our mailing lists. We can set them as public or private. And we can check out how many people are currently subscribed. This is pretty important stuff. After that, we have the Forms tab. Once we go there, as you can see, we have a public subscription page. And this is the page that people use to subscribe into our mailing list. This is the default one. However, keep in mind that we can customize it or use something totally different. Moving on, we have subscribers menu. Inside that, we can check out our current subscribers. There we can see their email addresses, names, statuses, and few other information. Then we got the import menu, which is pretty self-explanatory. If we have a current mailing list and we want to migrate it to the Listmonk, we can use this menu. Next up, we have bounces menu, and this is where we can see the undelivered mail attempts. We can use this to spot problematic mail addresses. After that, we got campaigns, and this is essentially the part where we create content to be sent to our subscribers. We can create new campaigns, new templates, or check out analytics data. And finally, we have settings, which we will be looking at later on. Now, let's get started. First thing that we need to do is prepare the one and only requirement, which is setting up a Postgres server. Luckily, doing this is pretty easy. We just go to the PostgreSQL's site and hit the download under the latest releases. There, we choose our operating system and download the installer. Once that's done, we run the installer, set our super user password, and we are now ready to use it. Now, I will be creating a new user and a database. In this step, I will be using Postgres command line interface, also known as the PSQL. To use it, you need to add Postgres bin and lib folders to your environment variables. However, you can also use pgadmin user interface if you prefer it that way. To create user, I've used the command create user listmonk with encrypted password listmonk. And after doing that, we create the database by using the create database listmonk command. At this point, we are ready to use listmonk. To do that, we head over to its website and download the binary for our operating system. Since I'm currently using Windows, I'll be choosing that. And once the download is completed, we extract it and we should get these files. But before moving on, let's open up our terminal and use the command listmonk --new config. As you can see, it will generate a config.toml file. This is the configuration file for Listmonk, and there we can change database connection settings and admin settings. Since I've created my database with the exact same credentials, I won't be changing anything in the database section, and admin settings can stay the same for this example as well. However, in production applications, make sure to change these settings appropriately. Anyway, to use the Listmonk, we head back to our terminal and enter the command listmonk --install. This command will prepare our Postgres database for Listmonk. Then finally, we execute listmonk and there we have it. It is running on port 9000. So let's open up our browser and go to the localhost 9000. There we click on login and enter our admin credentials, which we seen previously in the config.toml file. And there we go. It's running successfully on our localhost. At this point, you can experiment as you like. However, since I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I skip them and go straight to the settings. There we can set up various things, but what I want to show you is the SMTP section. This is the section where we enter our mail server credentials. Now, if you don't have any custom mail server, you can disable this and use Gmail instead. However, be aware that it may sometimes be cumbersome to use. Like if you have two-factor authentication enabled on your account, it won't work properly. Anyway, in this example, I will be using a custom mail server which is running in my local machine. To set it up, I've used a program named mail server, and as you can see, it has two accounts, user 1 and user 2. In this demo, I will be using 1 as our mail sender from Listmonk and user 2 as the subscriber. To monitor the user 2, I've set up a Thunderbird mail client so we can see the incoming mails. If this part gets a bit complex, don't worry, there are just few tools for this demo. Just follow along in the next part and you are good to go. Now let's set up SMTP in Listmonk. In this example, I'm running SMTP on my local machine, so I've set up a host as the localhost and leave the SMTP port as default, which is 25. Then I've changed my auth protocol to none because I haven't set up any authentication mechanism. Next, I've turned off my TLS encryption because it's not applicable in this example. However, keep in mind that the authentication and encryption is crucial in production applications. Always remember to set them accordingly to your use case. Anyway, now we click on save, and as you can see, it's crashed. In the terminal, it says that spawning process not supported by Windows. This may seem like a big issue, but it's actually not. We just restart it, and as you can see, it actually saved. Now let's test it out. To do it, first we go to the subscribers and all subscribers tab. There we click on new and add our user too, just like that. Then we head out to the campaigns, all campaigns, and choose the test campaign. Next we go to the send text message section and enter our user two's email account. And finally hit text. And if we check out the Thunderbird, it immediately got the mail, which shows that it is working properly. But if we look at the mail, it is from the default no reply. Let's change it to user1, which is pretty simple thing to do. We just change our from address to user1 followed by its email address. Now if I send the test message again, there we go. It is now from user1. We can also set up a default mail for newly created campaigns so that we won't be changing it every single time. To do it, we go to the settings and under the general menu, we change the default from email. We then hit save and restart Listmonk. Then we go to the campaigns tab and hit create new button. There, as you can see, the from address is automatically populated, which is pretty nice. At this point we are almost finished, but before that I want to show you one more thing, and that is subscription forms. To check that out, we go to the lists and forms. There, as you can see, we got this public subscription page, which is the default one. Now if I want to embed it into my application with a custom UI or additional features, I can easily do that by creating a form. To do that, I just select my public list and it automatically creates a form on the right hand side. So in my application I can use it wherever I like, which is quite cool. And that's it, this is the Listmonk in a nutshell. Now you can play around in your local machine until you are ready, then you can basically deploy it. As for the deployment goes, you can have a few options. They can be things like EC2 instances, containerizing the Listmonk and using it with ECS, Fargate or somewhere else, or simply by using this button to deploy on Heroku. In the end, I hope you liked it and find it somewhat useful. If that is the case, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe. And until next time, take care.